Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing really well. My name's Eva, and I want to thank you for joining me here in today's session. Something really, really cool started to come through while I was preparing to record. It was this kind of idea of dissolving separation through the lens of linear language. And it was specifically coming through as like fricatives, like shh. But in English, we pronounce that very at the front of our teeth, but then in different sort of languages from around the world, they kind of have that sound at different, it moves back the alveolar ridge and the hard palate, and then a sort of very throat-based fricative, the sound, and this sort of assimilation into unity, kind of through the idea of, not in any kind of narrative sense about how this attaches to a story, but if you think of languages separating people, misunderstanding or a block, if you will, a barrier to communication at the linear level, and seeing language as a sort of representation of the separation of a body, or the physical manifestation of the idea of separation from self and other. And so unifying sort of through this sound, through light, and sort of being aware of, in conscious awareness of the harmonization and the unification of these differences in our awareness of them. Sanyandoro kunatri in our definition of our identity, how we use these things, like nationalities, very strict ideas about what makes us who we are. And that was just coming out as language, a lot of, because the physical manifestation of this is so much of sound, but really bringing this sort of truth through the center to kind of harmonize with this truth, and sort of allowing that to open what it needs to open for you, reveal what it needs to reveal for you, with a strong intention of bringing through forgiveness, and so the great undoing and the great unification of this. So if that sounds interesting to you, just take a couple deep breaths. Letting yourself be as you are. Remember, it takes no time at all to be as you are in truth. You don't need to make yourself clean or more ready for direct experience of the divine. The divine is what you are. It is more helpful to bring your ideas of limitation to the altar, if you will, to the ceremony, so that they can be revealed, so that you can bring the light of the truth to them. You really bring them to the light of the truth. And as always, this sort of runs through this universal genetic code. If you think about the earth as being this kind of, all points hold the center. But if we think about our planetary evolution, and the genetics in how we connect with different aspects of life, certainly on this planet, but then through our solar system, through our galaxy and beyond, this sort of universal genetic library, just continuing to let your awareness expand and expand as far out as you let yourself, and feel your resonance with all aspects of life in this universe, to allow the definitions of yourself to be dissolved, what you hold, the definition of yourself that holds against unity, that would reinforce an idea of separation in any means, but certainly relevant to the moment we are moving through globally. A lot of that has to do with geographical location, historical context for those geographical locations and the many different and opposing narrative stories of that historical evolution, and the justifications for war and why some people have more right to a certain piece of land than others, and the truly horrific effects done in fear and done in a reinforcement of manipulation and control and dominance of will and negation of life and the right of life. Again, religion. Fundamentalism, a sort of radical fundamentalism, and all of the ways that any religion that would root in difference. These are ancient fears, ancient barriers that are very much still echoing throughout the moment of time in which we are, in which we believe that we are. And so in many ways this is a prayer of global peace. Seeing prayer as a kind of technology, a mechanism of where we started, this idea of the most of what you could believe of yourself. And the prayer for global peace is to see peace at the center of all of the manifestations of life and all of the representations of death, because death is not real. Death cannot come against the truth. Don't use the evidence of the ego that would tell you otherwise. This is a different kind of vision. The ego is not vision. This is a different kind of perception. This is spiritual perception. Allow it to heal you. In whatever way you may need. You do not need to direct spirit. Spirit knows how to find you. Spirit knows what is in divine right order for you to see and be aware of at this time, what lessons are in your alignment of field for what you are allowing to believe of yourself, and any challenges that you might come across are telling you what that lesson is. Kinandratis, where do you need to look deeper? Kinandritis mean where are you holding judgments against self, remembering self is including all others. All idea of what is other is not. Kantradnu morro inandusu morro kunayani orato orroko inai hinama unsi tarayato korroto yashun samtratas nadi anaworo. So let this dissolve limitations from within, these ideas of limitations from within your own body. Hinyam naorro kunandreatiat kinasinsi nandrayut oanama unshia, and then breathing that out through what we would call limitations between ourself and other. It's not just other human beings, all life. Kanandrua mushun zukorru kunahanandria tokonai himayana ini shanta takotaya sutsutrut kinashanima or kinandia siniati himayanur kunandriati satsayoshi hinata or kunamaini taini arat hinandrato sotsor kunamayan shandriataya uruitia su shinyan hansatraya su shi sitra kinamaunyata himaunyata tasucha knindrukatai. And this will always come with, we often find this very challenging, but a level of detachment, that is to see from above in such a way that we can see all that is in war, all that is operating from within a perceptual mechanism where death is held as a reality, is of illusion, is of dream. And so would you mourn the meaningless? Would you mourn the unreal? And it's about sort of opening your perception of allowance, what you will accept as a possibility, what will you accept as what you think is real. That from the light of that perspective, at which life is eternal, all that is occurring here is a dream, that you would see again and choose to see that which is occurring in the dream from that eternal perspective, which would detach you from grief, would it detach you from outrage in a certain degree. I mean, it would be detachment from all negative emotion that we would hold on to in ideas of war or genocide or abuses and these kinds of things. Like, we have to really ask ourselves what it is to transcend duality and what forgiveness really means, and how willing we are to be that radical without thinking like, oh, that makes me a horrible person. This is taking a perspective that is from the eternal, not bound within time, not bound within a reality of death. If there is no death and we are moving through temporary form, different, constantly changing configurations of form, nothing is lost. Nothing real is ever lost. All that is real is eternal. Then there would be no reason to mourn passing. Kinda korrumdish, passing form. Kandria taurro kinandritis. These are not popular ideas. Kinandriatis otsokorrotish. They are in a very abstract way, but when we bring them into a practical form, a practical manifestation by the way of thinking about what's going on in our own world, then we become, then it's like, oh my God, how could you not be? And I'm not saying that I'm not outraged by what is happening on earth. I'm saying the teaching that is coming through is to see it not that way. It is not freeing others to see them condemned to death. You can't free your own idea of self. You can't enlighten yourself by your eternal being. You cannot accept your truth of eternal being and allow that to take effect in your perception if you restrict that definition in any way. So people who are experiencing horrors, and you yourself have probably experienced horrors. I myself in this body have experienced horrors. It's not forgiveness to continue to hold on to the belief in the reality of the horror. You cannot be healed in that way. And the world can't be healed through your sight of it while you continue to condemn it in a projection of how oppositional duality, how Maya, how samsara is damaging to the being, because it's not damaging to the being. It has no effect on reality. It doesn't affect your eternal state at all. Spirit is perfect. Spirit cannot be damaged. Your spirit does not need healing. Spirit is what heals you. Why would you be accessing something that you think is imperfect to heal you? If you want the most that which could come through, the most that could be allowed, that you would allow Spirit to do through you, that you would allow God to do through you, you have to let go of all of these ideas of limitations in your essence, in your truth, in your true being. Not your personality self, not your ego, and not other people's egos or personality selves. All that which is happening in the world of hell, in the dream of hell, is not happening to the truth of their being, just as what you believe has happened to you in hell has not affected the truth of your being. And so what actual freeing sight is to see through the delusion, through the illusion, into the essence of the being. that is what dissolves the illusion, because you're not giving your attention to the illusion. You're not giving your attention to the reality of the war program, which would then continue the war program. And please understand that your allowance of attention, your projection into the war program by believing its effects can harm, in truth, pintratut, do they affect in the world of dreams? Yes, they do. But this is about a different kind of perception. Sansandrahantis na shinya, himayanorinium borukutayatos noshnandratis. Sinchintri kayanamaun chikiritian. We don't understand justice. We base justice in the laws of the dream. Those are not God's laws. All of the ideas that we've made up of God's laws are based in a duality that God knows not. Kinandriam norrukunashnindri kinantatis korrukunandria surruku. Kinandria tia orrukunashnitri kinyamnit. Kinyamnit, kinyari, kinyantayo torruku ishurun jatra. Sansitro orun. Shinyandari porunchi kinantusut sorreti shitayanindaya. Let yourself be awakened by your willingness to just let go. It's not gonna happen all at once, right? A little bit at a time. Practice holding these ideas, meditate on these ideas, contemplate these ideas. Feel how, don't believe it just because I told you. Let it ruminate from within your being. That's what the code from the higher mind is for, to touch you in your own mind in higher places, because they're the same mind. Let that illuminate. Let that make it brighter for you. Let that make it easier to see. So you're not seeing from a perception that would never allow more. I think I'm going to end this here for this video, and I'm going to go over and do the member session and expand upon this idea and let it flow and see what else comes through for that collective. If you want to join us there, you can follow the link below. I've also just started a very powerful group, which is a membership tier on YouTube that is for sacred sexual union healing. And that's very much kind of a deeper dive, a sort of deeper, I would say, you're committed or you're not, right? You choose to see or you don't. But as we experience levels or dimensions or where we are in the journey here, I feel like this is a deeper journey. If you're really ready to be of witness to union and what that means at all levels of the field between what we perceive to be ourself and other, and then as those ideas dissolve, as ideas of other dissolve, we let ourselves see in a higher form. I believe, as we would call it in on Earth, or probably on other planets, because they all are star-based, plasmic consciousness. That this is a higher spin rate. This is a less dense form of being. But the way that we have carried narrative story, and we have this idea of like sexual alchemical union, we need to realize this is not strict to our bodies. It's not strict to limited areas of our bodies. It's not, that is a manifestation of it, but it's not just that, and it's very limiting to just look at it in that way. And so we're really allowing ourselves to open up. It feels like a radical, it feels even more radical than what I've been talking about this whole time for years. It feels like we've reached a further expansion. We've sort of parted the clouds, or however you see yourself moving through, as the sun sort of burns them away from you as you continue to walk through them. That we've reached this kind of level of expansion that is, an even more radical level of sight. And I believe that the healing that will come through that physically is truly miraculous. And I'm ready. So if you're ready to go there too, that is a group that is also on YouTube, just because I think I already do that and it's an easy way to offer it. That'll be at least one session a week, but it might be more, and eventually we will do live sessions together, because I really want that to be a more collaborative group and a place for people to really share their ideas if they feel safe to do so, because so much of what we clear when we do this work is not feeling safe to do so because of the sort of ancestral genetic and spiritual lineage and, you know, what may have happened to your own body in this incarnation of sharing the truth, sharing ideas of the truth, and being being attacked, full stop. Whatever manifestation of attacked that has been. Remember, to spirit, there's no degree of difficulty to spirit. There is no degree of how hard something is to heal or not. It doesn't see it at all. It sees the truth. It sees right through it into the truth, and that sight dissolves what is not, because darkness cannot exist where light is. We find it to be degrees of difficulty, or better or worse, because we see in time and we see in gradient, but spirit doesn't. So if you're ready to allow yourself to hold more and more of that in your physical form as you move through time, I am too, so I would love to see you there. If you want to be in the loop about trance meditations and a bunch of other stuff that happens as it happens, if it happens, you can sign up for my newsletter. And any other way to work together is linked below. So thank you guys so much. God bless you, and I will see you next time.